Telson Payne family. It has been a hard one for me. I know Telson very well. We roomed together. Recently, I was telling the guys about the tour we had in United Arab Emirates when he was very well loved by all on that tour back in the days of the Sharjah tournament. And then it was really sad to hear the passing of Telson. Telson has been a stalwart for St. Catherine's. He's one of the few players in Barbados that played for one club and one since he left school. And also his contribution to Barbados cricket and in extension West Indies. Telson was a selector for the Barbados team. Also, Telson was a coach, not only in the schools, but he also worked for the National Sports Council, and someone who was a very fun-loving guy. Every time that we get a chance to watch cricket at Kensington Oval, he would come in the Legends box and we would have a grand old time just reminiscing about, you know, our life and the tours that we went on and how we went about it. And also, I must say that Telson was one of those guys that was always willing to help, especially with the youngsters. And again, I want to offer my condolences to his family. I know it's going to be a great loss. I did say in a post that I hope that the Bayfield ground will be named the Telson Payne Oval. And I hope that that will happen. I know the guys at St. Catherine and all, Mr. Fingal and all the guys up there would probably be, you know, giving him the full support. And to be quite honest with you, I want to offer my condolences. I'm really saddened at the news, and I hope that he will rest in peace and rise in glory. On the other note is that I also want to congratulate the Cricket West Indies for the Headley Weeks tournament. I believe it was a very great initiative in making sure that all players play some more first-class games. I know there's a lot of people who were advocated for, you know, 10 first-class games, but I think what we need is quality cricket more than quantity. And I think that with that intervention, with the initiative, of the Headley Weeks tournament, I think that has been good. I know that, you know, one or two of the games, the surfaces was keeping a bit low and so forth, but all in all, I thought it was a very good competition, and I would hope that we can continue with that. You know, knowing that we have to pick teams, A-team cricket. I hope that that will continue for a long time as well, and also for the preparation for our Test series. We, as selectors, we do take into consideration our standings, where we are in world cricket, and it is our intention to improve. And with all these initiatives, we believe that we would improve. That's my bet.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Haynes. And at this stage, we will allow for the beginning of the questions. So please, by show of your hand in the chat, you can indicate you have a question. So I've seen Roger C. Prasad. So Roger, feel free to come off mute and state your question to the lead selector.
Thanks, Phil. Good day, all. I just have two questions, if you'll indulge. The first, is the selectors making any headway in terms of discussions with the white ball players concerning their availability for all formats?
Yeah, that's one. Is that the other one? You want to give me both questions now and then let me answer them, or? Okay,
sure. The other question is just concerning the selection of the teams. In particular, Yannick Carrier, he's on a couple of tours coming up here now. And just to get the feedback from you in terms of what you see in a player like him that would have you put so much faith in him to go to the qualifiers as well as the A team and the ODIs coming up.
Yeah, well, the first question, I will answer the first question regarding the players in the white ball format. As you know, the West Indies Cricket Board have just selected Darren Sammy as the white ball coach. And so far, I had one meeting with him. We're hoping to get a few more meetings. And I think it's only fair for us to allow Darren to come in, you know, with his philosophy, how he would like to see things done. He can probably judge from how we've been doing things in the past. and to give up his input. I know Darren is very, very enthusiastic about this and really want to do well. And he's coming in with a very good track record as well. He's coming in with someone who's, won 2 World Cups for West Indies, and not many people can argue against that. But yes, we are very interested in making sure that we can get the players, interested in both formats. I personally am a very strong believer that the red ball cricketer would do well in the white ball formats. I'm very, very strong in that belief. I believe that when you look at even IPL now and a lot of the T20 cricket around the world, all the players are telling you that, from their performances and their practice and their experience in the red ball game has really made them into the T20 cricket that there is now. So, I'm very much a believer that the red ball, help you with your technique, help you that you'll be able to understand the situation, and you bat long enough and you realize that you can be aggressive, and it really do help you. The other thing is that it also helps with your preparation for cricket, because you can't go into a white ball format, let's say T20, and you practice 6 hitting and think that that is going to carry you through all your career. I think you need to be playing cricket, playing cricket shots, getting into certain difficult situations, getting out of it, and I think that is where the longer version assists the shorter version. The second question regarding Yannick Correa is that, yes, Yannick did not play in the Headley Weeks tournament. Yes, we decided that we are going to go left field and select someone like Yannick for the World Cup. Yannick, to us, is, as you know, leg breaks and googly bowling, that art is very difficult. Same thing apply for, if you're bowling Chinese and googly, someone like a bully. And also you had Hayden Walsh, who we have invested in. But recently Hayden has lost his form, and we continue to, still keep Hayden in our plans because, again, we think leg break and googly bowler in the Caribbean is vital to our success, not only in the white ball cricket, but also in the longer version. So yes, we decided to, persist with Yannick because we believe that he has the ability and he will be someone who can do the business for us in the World Cup qualifiers.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brendan Corlett, next question for you, Brendan, to lead selector.
Hi there, lead selector. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First question is about Shimron Hetmyer. What has been the conversation with Cricket West Indies and Hetmyer? Was he available for the qualifiers?
Yes, Hetmyer was available. He did send through an email or correspondence to Jimmy, our director of cricket, stating that he was available for the tour. What we, as selectors, we decided to do is that we just had a new captain in Shea Hope, and he was very happy to, express his views about the type of camaraderie we had in the team in South Africa. But we as selectors, we saw some, commitment. We saw a change in our approach to the one-day cricket, and we thought it was only fair for we to stick with these guys at this time. I must say though that I just want the public to know that that nobody has been ruled out of selection for West Indies. We do not have the depth of players to rule out anybody for selection. So I just wanted to say that yes, he was available, but we went along the line of picking the team. We were very happy with the way the guys performed in South Africa in that series. We thought it's a beginning. The new captain showed that he was very happy with the type of the synergy the players had, the type of camaraderie, the commitment from the players, and we decided that we will stick with that lot.
Okay, so there was no fitness issue of the sort.
Oh well, not as far as I know. And again, what I try to do is to stay away from the fitness issue because I might be a doctor, but I'm not. I don't practice medicine.
Okay, Dr. Haynes. Final question. Kevin Wickham and Kevin Anderson both scored centuries in the Headley Weeks Tri-Series, and they were not selected for the A-team series in Bangladesh. What was the reason for their non-selection?
Well, I must say, Kevlon, I thought that he played very well in the first game of the Headley Weeks. and we were very much, we were very happy with the way he performed because he showed patience. We were very happy with the likes of Kevin Wickham as well. But I think that what we probably might not have done well is to let the public know of what the A team was all about. We were looking at, we've got India coming to the West Indies in a couple of months' time, and we were hoping to give some of the players, some cricket practice in that regard. We also were taking into consideration that we've got the World Cup qualifiers, and we're in a situation where the guys are not playing a lot of cricket. So we just thought, well, with the A team coming up at this time, it would be interesting for us to give more, exposure, also give the guys a little bit of chance to play some cricket. So that was the line we went along with. We also wanted to give exposure to some of the youngsters. And unfortunately, I must say, unfortunately, we could only pick 15. And I wish to God that the 18, for Bangladesh was a situation where it was just for exposure. But unfortunately, it was not just for exposure. It was for giving people practice leading up to the Test series against India and also to the World Cup qualifiers. But again, as I said, we are very pleased with those youngsters. We will hope that these youngsters will continue to perform, keep working on the game, because I think that West Indies cricket, we need those youngsters coming in now and, fighting for positions and putting pressure on the ones who are selected. Kevin Sinclair, we are very impressed with his bowling. His bowling has improved tremendously. But what we were also very impressed with is with his batting. We believe that this guy, played so well, for the 4-day competition. He take that form into the heavyweights tournament. And again, we are appealing to not only himself but the coaches to look at him as somebody who can be a frontline batsman for us in Ghana and West Indies in the extension.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes.
My pleasure.
Thank you. We have hands raised of Dennis Heath and then Astle Wren. So Dennis, your question, and then followed by Astle.
Good afternoon to all. I have 3 quick questions, I hope, and I'll just state them up front. First, can we get an update on Jaden Seal's injury and recovery? And secondly, during the CWI T20 World Cup report from January this year, the committee had recommended short-term instances that there should be clear agreement on strength and conditioning standards with significant player input and consult. Does the standard for player strength and condition utilize a one-size-fits-all model? And finally, CWI was recommended to implement incentives and penalties with regards to strength and conditioning standards. Can you explain for us examples of the incentives and the penalties involved? Thank you.
Dennis, thank you very much for your questions. Unfortunately, I might only be able to answer one of these because, again, as I said, it's not my intention to play doctor. And I think that the questions regarding the strength and conditioning, I think that question, I don't think I will be able to oblige you in answering that, and also with the incentive scheme for the cricket in West Indies. But what I can say about Jaden is that we did consider Jaden, and then we were told, well, look, it was a possibility not to rush Jaden, knowing that we are going into a test series against India here in the next couple of months, and we would like Jaden to recover fully so that he can feature in the test series against India.
Dennis, on the other topics raised, I will facilitate that, and I will furnish you with a response away from this forum, but this forum deals specifically with the selection of the teams for upcoming and issues surrounding. So I will furnish you with an appropriate response away from this forum. Thank you. Then Astle, please come in with your question.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I have just 2 questions for Dr. Haynes. One, let me join with you, Dr. Haynes, by expressing my deepest condolences to the family of Kelson Payne. I had the privilege of seeing him play, and was a very good player. And hearing of his passing, it also hurt deeply inside. So I must say that I'm saddened by it. My first question is, I would like to have an update on Evan Lewis, the Trinidad and Tobago opening batsman. What is his status? Is he still in self-exile, or has he been blacklisted by the WICB? What is happening there? And my second question is, what's an update on Anderson Phillip, the fast bowler from Trinidad and Tobago? Can you answer those questions, please, sir?
Yeah, thanks very much for your questions. Again, I did receive a WhatsApp. Evan, we are in contact. He sent me to WhatsApp, let me know he's changed his number. So yeah, but when the last time we contacted Evan, Evan said that he was rather busy. He was doing some work at home, and he said he would not be available for. I mean, I'm speaking subject to correction here, but I remember thinking that he said he wouldn't be available till after CPL. I hope that I'm right there. I'm not actually misquoting him. But Evan, as I said before, we really cannot afford to sideline anyone. We got to make sure that our pool is too small, and we are interested in selecting the best team for West Indies, and to make sure that we, as I said before, we appreciate the fact where we are standing in world cricket, and we want to improve that. And we want to pick the best players, the players who are committed, who we feel can play the roles for us in order to get us from the bottom of the pack. Anderson Phillips, as you know, Anderson Phillips is back into practice. He's also playing, actually. I spoke to the coach of the A team, Mr. Griffith, and he's there. And also he obviously will be playing in that first game against Bangladesh in the A team. So Anderson is back to fitness.
Thank you very much. And just to update there, that A team first 4-day first class match starts tonight, Caribbean time, at midnight in Eastern Caribbean, and that is 11 p.m. In Jamaica. So West Indies A team, Bangladesh A is starting tonight. And Anderson Phillips is indeed part of the 15-member squad for that series. Following on, Wayne Holder and then Gavin Richards. So Wayne, please state your question, and then Gavin, you follow immediately after. We're not hearing Wayne. So Gavin, can you please state your question to lead selector?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Haynes. Dr. Haynes, I have two questions. One relates to Alec Athenas. Of course, he was the leading run scorer in the regional 4-day competition, and he's been selected to the West Indies A team and also to the ODI team for the United Arab Emirates. I just want to know what impresses you most about, or what about Alec Athenas impresses you the most? And secondly, Kavem Hodge, the former captain from the Windwards team, he wasn't selected for the A team, and as you quite rightly said, it's only 15 guys who could be selected, but he was selected for the ODI team. Just want to know what's the thinking of the selectors now as he looks to Kavem Hodge and his future. Should he, is he still being seen as a test player and now an ODI player as well?
Well, the first one, I'm going to answer the first one, and then I'll get to Hodge. But Alex impressed. I think we started in January. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that I was only in office from January. And I remember I had my co-selector at the time was Sarwan, and we had some discussions, and we were always keeping an eye on this young man. We did select this young man for the President's 11 game. He didn't do particularly well, but there was something about Alex that really impressed us. The way how he moved around the field, he looked as though that he's been somebody who was around this cricket for quite some time. His whole demeanor and obviously his ability. We believe that he can play, and given some time he would develop. So we always had him in our radar for the last year now or so. And we were very impressed the way how he played in the Trinidad League in the 50 over competition as well. And then he followed up with a very, very good season in the 4-day competition. So I think basically someone like Alex Anthony's, I think he'll send a message to a lot of the young cricketers that we've got in the Caribbean. You know, if there's something about you, if you got the ability is not all that you're going to need. You're going to need performances, and you're going to need to know that you are, you know, you're dedicated, you're very strong mentally, and also you want to represent West Indies, and you're going to go out there, and it's going to start from when you play for your territory. You're going to show that commitment. You're going to make the runs that is required. And again, as I said before, I speak on behalf of my co-selector and the selectors that, you know, we are going to give opportunities to young people, right? We are going to give opportunities. There's nobody that we think that is going to have the God-given right to play cricket for West Indies all the time and not do well. So we are always looking at giving opportunities to the players. Hodge, again, another fine performance in the 50 over competition in last season as well in Trinidad, the Trinidad League. Again, a player that was around long before I was involved as a selector. But again, a very promising player, you know, somebody who we looked at, you know, that West Indies looked at years ago. I was talking to my co-selector and he was telling me that Hodge, funny enough, was on a program in Australia. And all the reports coming out of Australia that at that time he looked better than Joe Root. So you can see that this guy is someone, you know, who's got a lot of ability. Again, what we say is that we want these guys to come out, keep knocking at the door, keep doing well, you know, keep showing the fight, the commitment that is necessary, and show us that they want to play cricket for West Indies. We definitely don't want the guys to come and start thinking that, you know, okay, well, I've reached this stage now, or the West Indies has not looked at me for a while, so I really don't care. We want to see the commitment from these players, especially when they're playing for the territories. But, you know, these are two players that we've got on, you know, in our watch, and we hope that they can do well. I'm hoping that Hodge, given the opportunity to go to United Arab Emirates to play those 3 one-day games, because some of the players who are involved in the World Cup qualifiers will be rested. Yeah, I hope that he can do well so that he can put some pressure on these players who are in the side for the one-day qualifiers. Again, I must reiterate that we've got Darren Sammy, who is the white ball coach, and you know he's going to be coming in with his ideas about players that he think that can play the roles for us, and you know, so you know I would have more discussion about, you know, players like Hodge and Anthony's going forward, you know, when we have our meetings with the new coach.
Thank you very much. Following on from Gavin, we have Akeem Green. Akeem, please state your questions.
Good morning. Hearing me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Akeem.
All right. Mr. Haynes, I have a question concerning Kevin Sinclair. You have just highlighted him a bit about his A-team selection, but I was wondering if maybe he would have merited a bit more, at least for the qualifiers in the UAE. I asked on the premise that you look at his stats last Super 50, it was a decent one, and we know of his ability even prior. He has international experience as well, and he really had a standout regional 4-day as well, and then he did well in the Headley and Wick series. I'm just wondering how close he was maybe to get him back into the team, and whether you guys would be having conversations with these players that would be really knocking on the door, and if they don't make selection, you know, you maybe highlighted them or what the areas that they need to improve on, and maybe to get the step into the team. I think this was also a part of some of the report that came out from the World T20. But I was wondering how close he was maybe to get into that UAE team. And from your end, what are some more attributes or things he needs to do to cross the line and get back into the limited over setup for West Indies?
Well, I think that it's a very good question, and he was very close to selection, I must admit. I think that with the situation of the team, whereas that we had the World Cup qualifiers, everyone thought that we were happy with, as I said before, with the bowling unit that we had there in South Africa. And we thought, well, okay, you know, going to a place like Zim, we wanted that leg break googly bowler again there instead of the two off spinners in Chase and Sinclair. And then we had someone like Akil Hussein as another spinner, and then we had Moti, you know, so the team basically was packed with a lot of spinners, and that's where I think that someone like Kevin, you know, missed out. But as I said before, you know, Kevin is one of those guys that we have a lot of respect for his ability, and we believe that is in the near future he'll be fishing in for us in the one-day format as well.
Just one thing on Joshua De Silva. He captained in the Headley and Weeks series, and he's captain on the A-team tour. It's good to deduce that maybe Joshua De Silva is being groomed as a next potential captain for the West Indies, given these appointments to him.
Well, we wanted to be consistent. I think what we're trying to do is to encourage to get a group of players who we can have, you know, that can play leadership roles. And you know, we got our eye on people the likes of someone like a Brandon King, Alex Antones, who have captained the Windward Islands this year, and we were very impressed with his leadership. Also, it did not affect his batting, which we thought was very, very important. So yes, you know, we had to be consistent as well. We had Joshua De Silva, who captained the 18 against Bangladesh last year, and instead of chopping and changing, we thought, well, we give him one season, why not give him another one? He also captained in the Headley Weeks tournament, and we just thought that, well, look, we would be consistent and we allow Joshua to captain the A team at this time. But going forward, I think what we plan to do is to make some recommendations to Cricket West Indies, where they will look at a list of players that we can start grooming for leadership. And I think that Joshua would be one of them, because Alex Antones, Brandon King, and there, you know, you got Shea Hope, who's captaining now in the 50 over, and there will be plenty more that we'll be looking at in the future.
Thank you very much. Jordan Fort, hand raised, and then followed by Jerome Foster.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Haynes and Philip. This is Jerome. I'm using Jordan's computer as well.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Haynes, how much of a role did the new coach Darren Sammy play in the selection of the teams, first to UAE and the World Cup qualifier squad?
Jerome, unfortunately, and Darren was only appointed last week as the white ball coach, so he would not be involved in the selection of the UAE team or the World Cup qualifiers. Jerome, I think that this is a very good question too, because sometimes I think the public need to know the pressure that we, the selectors, are put on the, you know, when it comes to travel, and also the West Indies Cricket Board when it comes to the logistics of getting players from point A to point B. It is not easy. So sometimes you have to go out and you have to select the teams rather early so that the West Indies Cricket Board can put all of the plans in place so that, you know, they can get guys, you know, book on flights and accommodation. Also, the ICC as well, you know, they always ask for a particular time. They want the team selected as well. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that, you know, we can't just wait. You know, there's a time limit in which we have to select sides. So, but again, Darren was no part of the selection of these two teams.
And the other question, in terms of the players who have been rested for the UAE leg, I realized that it's because of their IPL stints. A couple of the players, though, haven't really been featuring in the IPL. What was this decision taken prior to them going to the IPL or during the IPL?
Yes, the decision was taken during the IPL. As you know, the West Indies Cricket Board, we have embarked on a program where is that we are monitoring the players' workload. You know, we're trying to make sure that the guys get ample time to rest and to prepare for the games leading up to our big events. And the players requested some time off. There were some guys who had commitments back at home in making sure that their family, they wanted to do some work for their family, do some things for their family as well. So we decided that, with the situation, even though you might see guys in the IPL competition and not playing, they're still actually practicing, and they're still getting up in the morning and getting themselves fit and doing what is required for on a cricket tour. So if the guys, requested time off to say that they would want to have the rest to recharge their batteries to go to Zimbabwe for the qualifiers for our World Cup, fresh, I think that it was only right for us to give them the option to do so.
All right, thank you.
No problem, Jerome.
Thanks, Jerome. We have 3 final questions. As we have first Marshall Hewitt, followed Leon Francis, and then Wayne Holder. So in that order, we continue with Marshall.
Thank you, Philip. Dr. Haynes, just a couple from me. With regards to the A-team squad that was selected, Darren Bravo was a notable absence. Just wanted to unpick whether that's because Bravo isn't really considered going forward, or was it because you wanted younger players to get an opportunity over him?
Well, Michelle, I'm going to tell you this again. I keep saying it all the time, and I want people to believe us as selectors. We can't really write off anybody at this time. Obviously, if a guy is playing competitive cricket in the Caribbean, I think that it's only right for us to consider all the players who are involved. And there's nobody who we've got out there that we're saying that is not involved in playing cricket for West at the time. I would say though that with the A-team setup, we were hoping to give even more youngsters some exposure, but unfortunately, we were only allowed to pick 15. But again, it was based on three tiers where we were looking at giving guys some cricket practice. We got India coming up later on in the year. And also we've got a very important tournament, and that is the World Cup qualifiers, and we were taking into consideration that if these guys are not playing in the A-team cricket or getting involved in cricket, there's no cricket in the Caribbean now that we can say that it would be good preparation for them. So we just thought that it would be good to give opportunities to the guys who were selected in these tournaments.
Thank you very much. And moving on, just with regards to Chemo Paul, prior to the selection for the World Cup qualifiers, Shannon Gabriel had been selected to go to South Africa. Shannon wasn't able to get a game, so I'm just trying to unpick the rationale that was for Chemo to get a pick, and were there other fast bowlers that were fast or medium fast bowlers that were considered, maybe an Akeem Jordan, whether even a Jair McAllister, etc. How did you break down opting for Chemo?
Yeah, well, one, Chemo is the three-dimensional player that we were looking for at the time. Also, I think that Shannon played because when Shannon made the team to South Africa, you must remember that we had Jaden Seal, who was injured and had a knee problems and couldn't make it. And we were talking about somebody who can bowl the new ball for us and look for early wickets. And the conditions there, we thought that would probably suit a Shannon more than a Zimbabwe where we're going now. So we did have, I must admit, yes, we had a look at people like a Keith Jordan, and we look at other fast bowlers who we believe that will be able to do a good job for us, in looking to get early wickets in the 50-over competition. But again, we went with Chemo because we thought, well, look, Chemo is one of those guys who can do that job up front with the new ball for us. He can bowl in the middle, and also he can give us some runs, in the batting lineup as well, down the order. And he's a damn good fielder, as we all know. So I thought that he ticked all the boxes, and that's why he got the vote.
Thank you. Just one quick one, just to end. Sorry, apologies. Just with regards to the A squad sorry, not the A squad. Sorry, the squad that's gone to the UAE for the 3 warm-up games. Should any of the players excel there, Is there an option to increase the squad going to the World Cup, or would those players just be considered in terms of injury replacement? So I'll take a random name like a Dominic Drakes. Say he plays exceptionally well in the 3 games in the UAE. Would that change your selection process?
No, the team has been selected already, so there's no, you can't really change the team now. But in case of injuries or so forth, these guys, playing in that tournament might be able to fill in for them. But also, Michelle, you also got to look at from the situation that the program is so tight, right? That while West Indies and I'm sure, I'm hoping and praying that we will be qualifying because we will be in the finals of the World Cup qualifiers. We in a couple of I would say days, but about a week time or so, we have to be prepared for the first test match in Dominica against India. So it is a possibility we might have to start talking about some of the guys who are in the side that would make the test team not playing the finals of the World Cup qualifiers and looking at getting home to prepare for the first test match. So that's how tight the program is. So having those guys playing in the UAE, again, those are some of the guys that we've got as reserves, because of this situation that we find ourselves in.
Thank you very much. We're on the closing stages, so we have Leon Francis and then followed by Wayne Holder. So Leon, please.
Yeah, pleasant good morning to all the panelists, and of course my condolences are extended to the family of Kelson Payne. I got a couple questions. Fabian Allen and Hayden Walsh Jr. are considered 2 of the best fielders in the world. Can you bring me up to date as to the whereabouts of Fabian Allen? And secondly, what plans are in place for the development of Hayden Walsh Jr.? And Cornwall, he was not selected, and were it because he was unavailable, he made himself unavailable. Were he available, would he have been selected? Please go on one of these tours.
Well, let's start with this because there are 3 questions, so I just want to make sure I get them right. Let's go with can I start with the Hayden Walsh one first?
Yes,
you can. And then you could, if I start, shifting, you can put me back into line. But the Hayden Walsh thing is, as I said in my opening remarks, or I said early on in this interview, that leg breaks and googly, we find that art is a very, very difficult art to master. And the West Indies Cricket Board Cricket West Indies has invested a lot in Hayden, and it's unfortunate that Hayden has lost his form with his bowling. His fielding continues to improve. There's no doubt about that. But Hayden has just lost the confidence as we see in his bowling. We're hoping that there will be programs in place now. And I said again, I don't want to, go and over the coach head. I think that there's going to be some programs where that we can look at certain players that need special coaching and so forth to help them to get back on par so that they can contribute to this, to West Indies cricket. So Hayden is one. Hayden is still, Hayden is 31 years old. So as far as we're concerned, we think that Hayden still has a future in West Indies cricket. I haven't really seen any report yet on Fabian Allen. I know that I don't know where he's playing cricket at the moment, but I really cannot answer to Hayden, to Fabian situation. I will go to Rakeem Cornwall. Yes, Rakeem Cornwall has been bowling very well for us in the 4-day competition. He did, made himself unavailable for the Headley Weeks tournament. But again, that doesn't stop Rakeem from being, in line for selection for the Test series against India in the Caribbean.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you explained that.
Thanks and appreciation as well. Final question from Wayne Holder. And then we'll close out today's media engagement. So, Wayne, you'll have the final question. Please go ahead.
Well, yes, thank you, Philip, and good afternoon, Dr. Haynes, and all the other members on the forum. But I quickly wanted to ask two unrelated questions, really. The first question was about the eligibility for selection. Is there still a hard and fast rule regarding participation in regional competitions as far as being eligible to be selected is concerned?
I don't know when you say when you say hard and fast rule. I don't know. I think that if you're playing in the Caribbean in our competition, then that's a chance for us to see that you're interested in playing cricket for West Indies. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that still remains. But I'm not too sure if there's any hard and fast rule of playing cricket for West Indies by having to play in the Caribbean.
All right, so that answers that. A quick question. I want to go back a bit, though. Concerning the young off spinner from Trinidad, Brian Charles, a young man who has been good enough to make the West Indies last 18 selected last year against the same Bangladesh here in the Caribbean, and has done consistently well in regional competition. And again, I would like to suggest he was one of the standout players as far as bowling and the numbers are concerned in the last regional 4-day competition. And hence his omission from the, first of all, the Headley Weeks tournament, and well, which is obvious now that he would not have made these last series selected. But I just want to find out what informed the decision to omit Brian Charles at this particular point.
Well, Brian Charles' name came up at the selection. It was a situation where when we were looking at the spinners, we thought, well, okay, we did have the opportunity to see Brian Charles in the A team last year. We decided that with the 26 players that we had to select in the original stage, we thought, well, we thought that with Cornwall, who was supposed to be in the side as well, you know, in there, we had a bunch of off spinners, and we thought, well, after Cornwall did not make himself available, we went with the guy from what's his name now, Chem Holder, because we were impressed with the way how Chem bowled in the games that he played in Trinidad. But again, as I say, Wayne, someone like a Brian Charles, you know, we looked at him. We still got him in our radar. We looked at him, you know, against Bangladesh last season. He was a prominent member of the squad, the 18 squad. But you know, in a selection process, you know, there's always one person who miss out, and sometimes it's very difficult. But you know, I would say to someone like Brian Charles that, you know, he's still in our plans, and there's no doubt about that.
Well, thank you very much. Most of the other questions I had would have been asked before, I guess because I came late in the order, and the runs were already knocked off by the time it got to my turn. Thank you very much, Dr. Haynes. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Wayne, and thank you all members of the media who participated today. We appreciate your time. And we also thank Dr. Haynes for his time and furnishing us with.
Spooner, before you go, I would just like to get this out as well. I don't think that I put this in my introduction. That, you know, we've actually got some information regarding O'Shane Thomas, who reached out to us, and you know, we're organizing a program for him to work with, because again, when we talk about the leg break and googly bowling, and when we talk about the Chinaman and googly bowler, we think that a fast bowler is a crucial member of any team, and we think that O'Shane has the ability to bowl the cricket ball fast, and he should be encouraged. We obviously, as a panel, we had discussions with him, with his management, and we understand he's in England. I think my co-selector, Mr. Butcher, was looking at the possibility of getting the program from Rogers to him so that he can be on a program that we would be aware of and we'll be able to monitor. And it so happened that, you know, someone like O'Shane Thomas, you know, we would really like to encourage him to get back to his fitness and to see how best he can try to fight his way back into the West Indies side. But we are very happy that he reached out to us. We are very happy that we have been in conversation with him, and we hope that with the new coach now in position in Andre Coley. I mean, he was the interim coach in the last tour, but now that he's the coach, I think that we're going to have some meetings regarding, you know, someone like O'Shane Thomas, who we believe can play a role for us in Test cricket. Thank you, Simona. I don't know. Aspona, are you? Hello?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. And that brings an end to today's proceedings. Just a reminder as well, as we have a number of tournaments going on, the CG United Women's Super 50 in St. Kitts. Then followed, as I said, overnight, the start of the 4-day test series, West Indies A versus Bangladesh A in Bangladesh. If you have any questions or any queries, please feel free to reach out to any member of the media department, myself, or any of my colleagues, and we'll be happy to assist. So have a good day and stay safe, and continue your support of West Indies cricket. Thank you.